Hello and g'day, everybody. It's Heather and Louise, staying awake with Heather and Louise.
And I'm Heather, and this is Louise. Sorry, this is Heather, and I'm Louise.
Whatever, whatever.
We're
Heather.
interchangeable.
Whatever, Heather. We've just spent a wee while sorting out our new studio. Well, it's turned into a bit of a mission today, but we're having fun. We on our Facebook Live, we did some videos of what was happening in the sky, and we got a lot of stuff around the whole HARP thing, the whole the climate change agenda, the chemtrails and stuff like that, and we put it up just as an offering about what people thought it might have been, and the amount of, I won't say negativity, but the amount of concern that came back was quite considerable. And so I started speaking to Safida, our friend Safida, about this, about the energy that's around at the moment, and we are seeing it in the firmament, the skies, whatever you want to call it, and feeling it as well. And we just got talking about that, about what's really going on, and how are we standing at this time within this wonderful construct, this place that we've chosen to be in, and seems like a screaming crazy movie most of the time, with various strange episodes and very weird players at times, including us. And many of us who have awakened to a lot over the last few years are asking a lot of questions. I've been asking a lot of questions, and not a day goes by where I don't ask certain questions. So yeah, the whirlpools of energy that we're seeing within our realm at this time. What do you reckon, Lou? You want to chime in on that?
Well, it's just like it is. There's a lot of stuff that seems to be happening. I mean, like when let's go back to the cloud thing the other day when you asked me to tune in, and I was like, as I said, when I first walked out, there was this big black cloud of what we hoped would be a rain cloud. And then I turned around and I saw the rest of it, and it was literally, looking from getting one sort of energy feel from one area and turning around and getting another energy feel from something else. And when I started to tap into that, as I said, I got like magnetic, I got a different vibration. There was joy. I felt relief. I felt change was coming along and all the rest of it. And I was really getting excited. And then, I must admit, when I read some of the comments, I was like, God, was I so off mark, And my guides turned around to me and they said, no, you're not off mark, because you are looking and sensing and feeling what you choose, what you want to see in your life. Now, yes, there is stuff like the climate cooling, and there is the where they're putting stuff in the sky to cloud it over to stop the sun, and they are seeding clouds and blah blah blah. But I have this question. I heard somebody else ask this question, and it really rung in my energy, and it's really made me start questioning things, because for a long time I didn't believe in the whole sort of what do they call it, the chemtrail thing and all the rest of it, and then I bought into it, and I've like, every time I look in the sky now, that's all I see. I don't see the beauty, I don't see the wondrous creation that it is.
So you mean you've gone a little too far?
I think I went from one extreme of like absolute denial to then complete, oh my God, everywhere I look now, every cloud's a chemtrail.
But this is to do with people waking up and reading a whole lot of information that's coming at them at the moment too, surely.
Absolutely.
Including us.
I'm not trying to knock anybody. Yeah. I'm really just relating my own insights and my own awarenesses. Yeah. And so when I saw what I saw, and for the first time, it wasn't like, oh my God, it's chemtrails. It was like, look at the beauty. I started to see things. I started to look beyond what was there and feel something different. And my guide said to me, Safida and Katumi and all the rest of it, they all said to me, you've got to stop looking at what the narrative is, whether it's a truth narrative or a negative narrative or whatever. You've got to stop looking at this, and you've got to go into the heart again. You've got to go into your heart space. You've got to look at what is your truth. And my truth was, I was feeling absolutely wonderful with the vibration that was coming through at that moment. And I did feel a magnetic shift. It wasn't a north magnetic or a south magnetic. It was a field of magnetic energy shift that I believe was coming from the true magnetic field that is around our dome, around our sphere of existence. Okay. And I believe that was allowing certain emissions of solar flare and plasmic interaction with us to come into our realm to enhance us, whilst deflecting the negative plasmic interference. All right,
about like a solar
flare, yeah. You know, and that's what I was feeling, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm actually very comfortable with that realization, knowledge, input of my own consciousness, my own higher awareness. So, but I realize that is my isolated perspective. See, and the question I was referring to about earlier on is like, if the elites, if they are spraying the air, polluting the air, poisoning it, and all the rest of it to get rid of the general populace, my question is, they're breathing the same air. They're not walking around with big oxygen tanks on their back and masks on and breathing purified air. They're outside with us breathing the same air, because believe me, if you spray somewhere in Indonesia, the winds of our planet and our realm are going to move everything. We've seen it, we've experienced it, and we know it's going to happen. So they can't poison one area and expect another area not to be touched by that same interference, right? That same poisoning. So my question is, what good would it be for them to poison everything in the atmosphere if it's going to affect them?
So yeah,
so that's my question.
That was a great question,
and it was a question I heard from someone else, and it really got me thinking. It got me thinking of the why, the wherefore, the how, and now I'm going into that. I don't have an answer yet. I'm not presuming to have an answer, but I'm sharing that question to hopefully create the instigation of critical thinking again. I think we've lost critical thinking. We've become too comfortable with the truth of movement, which in my honest opinion has dulled us down again, has created an acceptance of what's happening. We've got to keep calm, we've got to pray, we've got to put good vibes out, we've got to do this, but we can't resist. Because if we resist, we have a civil war. We don't want a civil war, do we? Whether it's in America, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in England, whether it's wherever. But hang on, guys. When we truly awaken into what is going on for ourselves, there is a definitive point where we have to say, thus far and no more. So when we get people that are hidden from sight and all we see is a hand, a foot, a bracelet, a voice, and they're telling us, oh, toe the line, follow the plan, trust. To me, that sounds like a certain man that was standing at the podium of a certain presidency saying, follow the science, trust the science, wear a mask, have an injection, blah, blah, blah. It's the same package, but it's dressed differently.
Yeah.
So again, my perspective, I'm not trying to alienate. I'm not trying to come across as some better person. I still have a shitload of questions that are not being answered by some of the truth movement groups and gurus that come from that.
Well, so that's a whole conversation in itself, which we'll try and include part of in here. Is what about people that are waking up, and they're waking up, and what they've got is this truther community that they're waking up to. A lot of them must be going, holy shit, this is worse than what it was before I was awake, or whatever. What is this that I'm looking at? This person says this is this, and this is this, and that's that. What does it really mean? So you've got your curdling, is a great friend of ours, Platorans likes to speak about, where you've got your groups, and from these groups, even within the awakened community, there are various rings and frequencies and experiences of being awake. You can be awake, but you can be half asleep and awake at the same time. It's you know, or you can be still following something and getting into the drama of something, believing that it's the truth, or knowing that it might not be the truth, but you're too scared to let it go, or you're too egotistical to let it go,
or you don't have something else,
to go to
replace it.
So what happened for me I can't speak for Lou, but what happened for me, I went, something stinks here. I'm going to go further. There's got to be more. There's got to be a hell of a lot more. And this is when I started finding some other information that was well researched and resonated very, 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 very strongly with me. I'm just going to do a shout out to Jason at Archaics, because of that, in fairness, he's done a lot of work in that area, and so the people that he works with.
Totally blew my mind when I started
researching
listening.
the older books and putting the data together. And we were told some time ago, have a look at your old books, try and get hold of your 1800s, like we're in Australia. We don't have a lot of old stuff like you do in other parts of the world, really easy access, original old books and stuff like that, and look at the old maps and but we did enough research and enough meditation and intuiting to know that we're being completely lied to about pretty much everything, and that translates to parts of this so-called truther movement or community. There is so much lying or blatant misinformation there as well. So this is where we come back to the curdling, where you have the, oh, wait, this is what's going on. Oh, hang on a minute, this doesn't feel right anymore. So this group and that group go off and looking for something more that is meeting
it's organic when that
happens, the intuitive knowing. There's an organic breaking off and doing something else. So we're pretty comfortable with where we are. So I showed Lou what I discovered, and she immediately was like, oh, this is it.
I must be,
it smells good.
Yeah, I have to say that when I first, it was so accurate in my resonation, and there was a lot of information there. I actually said to Heather, I said, I can't listen to this. And she goes, why? I said, because I don't want this to influence the information that comes through me, because it is so fine-linely in balance with what was coming through me at that particular time, with the information that was coming through from the creator and from the connections that I've got from the ascended masters. And so I had to pull back for a while. So she's gone ahead and listened to a whole bunch of things, and I'm now starting to feel, okay, I can tune into at this level and this level, but there's still some information I can't touch, I won't touch, because one, I'm writing books that relate to certain things and information, and I don't want to be influenced. I want it to be pure information that comes through me, whether or not it's in agreement with what is given from another perspective or not, doesn't matter. It's just, as I say, my perspective, my intuitive knowledge, and really and truly, it all enhances, it all comes together at the end to release us from a belief system, release us from a way of being, to get us to, if I can use the phraseology of the old words of the groups and everything that was way back in like the early start of the spiritual movement, is like, we've got to vibrate, we've got to get ourselves up to the next level, up the next step. And sometimes by doing that, we have to come together in a clashing way to find out what we agree on, what we don't agree, release what we don't agree, and get to the next level, so we can start growing and start to meld and continue to do it.
Continue to grow.
Yeah.
Nobody's got all the information.
Absolutely
Nobody
not.
knows everything. And this is part of the experience of this realm, if you like. And, I'm pretty positive I don't want to be coming back and recycling myself on this planet or realm or whatever you want to call it. As much as I've enjoyed much of my time, there's also been a lot of frustration, but I'm willing to break through that and have a much better, more fulfilling life, but at a level of seeing it for what it is. What is it? I'm not of the world, not being of the world, but in it.
Yeah.
But in it.
It's like Safita says to us, he says, you are not of the world,
but you're in it.
But you're in it.
So how are you going to operate? And you're going to be able to see it for what it is and not get caught up with all the hooks and stuff like that.
Should I bring him through?
If you like, yeah.
And you can sort of go on these subjects and maybe go a little bit deeper.
Sure.
Get a third perspective.
Sure.
All right, so guys, Heather's going to continue talking to you. I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to breathe. I'm going to allow the energy of Safita, who's an ascended master. Some of you may have heard of him as Adamus or Saint Germain. It's the same energy. And so I'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, so this is a really exciting time. It can be a crazy and very challenging time, but it's very exciting, especially for me, having these aha and enormous breakthrough moments, whether they're in my sleep, my meditation, or just my walk in conscious life, where and some of the things I used to be quite interested in, I'm not so interested in it anymore.